Temporomandibular joint dysfunction, or TMJ, is the pain and compromised movement of the jaw joint and the surrounding muscles. The left, right, or both components of the temporomandibular joint may be involved and, depending on the severity, can affect a person's ability to speak, chew, swallow, make facial expressions, and even breathe. Hi, my name is Monique, and I have TMJ. I first found out that I have TMJ in 2020 when I was diagnosed, and what led me to actually seeking out that medical attention, which led to me getting that diagnosis, were my symptoms, which were very uncomfortable. I've always held tension in my jaw because of anxiety, but it's never hindered the way that I live my life. However, in 2020, it got to a point where the pain in my jaw was so intense and so persistent that I tried to take just over-the-counter painkillers to get rid of the pain. I tried ice packs, I tried moist washcloths, and nothing worked. The scariest part was when I would open my mouth, or try to eat food, and it would barely open just enough so that I could fit food in my mouth, and it would just be stuck. It wasn't like I could click my jaw a little bit and move it around and then I would have more movement. It was just completely stuck there. I could not open it anymore. As it turns out, my symptoms are just some of many. According to the TMJ Association, symptoms may include pain in the jaw muscles, pain in the neck and shoulders, chronic headaches, jaw muscle stiffness, limited movement or locking of the jaw, ear pain, pressure, fullness, ringing in the ears, grating in the jaw joint when opening or closing the mouth, a bite that feels off, dizziness, and vision problems. Now, I mentioned that I got diagnosed with TMJ in 2020, but that's actually not why I originally sought out medical attention. It was originally because I was so fatigued all the time, and I ended up being diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, which is interesting because one of the comorbidities listed on the TMJ Association website is chronic fatigue syndrome. That just means that they are two conditions that occur together more often than chance can explain. Now, I don't know if chronic fatigue syndrome is the cause of my TMJ. In fact, I don't really think that it is, but I just thought it was interesting to bring up because I do have both of these things at the same time. I was diagnosed with both of them around the same time, and I still have both of them to this day. So anyway, when I reached out to a doctor to get help with all of my health issues that year, I told him about my jaw, and he recommended that I go see a dentist because he thought that I might have TMJ, and if I went to a dentist, I would be able to get properly diagnosed. So that's exactly what I did. I think it was literally the next week I went to the dentist. I brought up what my doctor wanted the dentist to look into. He looked into it and he said, yep, you have TMJ. And if I remember correctly, I believe he said I have it in my left side. You can have it in the left, right, or both sides. I think I just have it in the left. Doesn't mean that I don't get pain on my right side, but just an FYI, I guess, if you wanted to know. So once I received my diagnosis, then I was able to pursue treatment. 3 years later, I definitely have bad days, but for the most part, I really don't feel like I have it, and I don't feel like TMJ hinders my ability to just live everyday life. I think that's because of the treatment I've received and also the things that I've done every single day to help alleviate any pain that I might be experiencing, which is pretty rare. And if I'm not feeling any pain, then prevent the pain from appearing and certainly from worsening. So today I'm going to be sharing with you all of the things that I have done and the things that I continue to do either daily or at least regularly that help to alleviate the pain or most of the time prevent the pain from my TMJ. Please keep in mind that I am not a doctor or a dentist or anything like that. I'm just sharing my experience as somebody with TMJ. I have always been a big gum chewer. At one point, I literally would chew 5 pieces of gum a day, which obviously is a bit excessive, but I'm just giving you a perspective here. At the very least, I would chew 1 stick of gum a day. It was just something that I liked to do. I liked the flavor. I liked that it kept me occupied a little bit. It gave me something to do, just chewing on the gum. It was kind of relaxing, meditative even. But when I got diagnosed with TMJ and I was talking to my dentist about it, the first thing that he recommended was to stop chewing gum. The reason is that my muscles and joints and whatever, they're all inflamed, right? And so if I use them even more than they need to be used, it's just going to make it worse and make the pain worse. So essentially, you want to be using your jaw less. And by me chewing gum and chewing it multiple times a day, potentially for hours on end, that's just gonna make it worse. That's not decreasing the amount of time that I'm chewing. I was so sad when my dentist told me to stop chewing gum because I loved it so much, but I was willing to give it up because the pain was just so intense and I didn't want to live my life like that. The good thing was he didn't just tell me to give it up, he actually gave me a suggestion of what I could do instead, which was to suck on mints. And specifically, he wanted me to get mints with, I want to say he told me like 2 ingredients where I could have like either one and it would be fine. And basically their ingredients were like, they help to prevent cavities, and of course you want like sugar-free mints as well. Now I just finished my last container of these mints, but my favorite mints that I found with that ingredient in it are the icebreakers, and I want to say they're like wintergreen flavor. I'll put a picture up here, so if I'm wrong, you can at least see what it looks like. But that's really what I've turned to instead of chewing gum. So anytime that I would feel like chewing gum, I would just suck on a mint. There we go. And by doing that, I was greatly decreasing the amount of time that I was using my jaw, therefore setting myself up for less jaw pain. This next tip follows the same way of thinking. You know, use your jaw less, you're gonna experience less jaw pain, and that is to eat softer food. I've actually turned to drinking a lot of smoothies. I've always been a big water drinker, especially at meals, but since being diagnosed with TMJ, I made the conscious decision to drink beverages at meals that are nutrient dense and also have calories. So I drink a lot of smoothies, fruit juice, and milk. The reason why I do this is because it allows me to very easily and quickly get calories into my body without having to use my jaw at all. Now, as a dietitian, I'm always very careful with like recommending things like this, because a lot of the time, if you just drink a drink and you don't actually chew anything with it, then your body won't get that signal that's telling you that you're full, and you might end up eating too much or just feeling hungry all the time. But if I am drinking calories while I am also chewing food at my meal, then it doesn't have the same problem because the signals will be sent off. In addition to smoothies and juices and things like that, I also err on the side of eating soft foods. Now that doesn't mean that I can't eat foods that are crunchy or just kind of harder to chew, but most of the time I want to be eating soft foods and not putting too much stress on my jaw. If you've never thought about how the consistency of what you're eating can affect your jaw, then this is a good time to do that and just kind of reflect on the different consistencies that you're eating and anything that could be causing you to have to chew longer and therefore increasing the pain that you have in your jaw. Then once you identify those things, you may want to remove them from your diet or maybe decrease the amount of time that you are eating those items. You also could decrease the portion size. That's another idea. This next tip is similar, also has to do with eating, and that is to spit out chewy foods. I just had to become someone that's okay with spitting food out versus just being so married to the idea of chewing it until it's finally digested enough that I can swallow it. I find that most of the time when I spit out food, it's with either meat or asparagus. And I love me some asparagus. But sometimes if you get like a fatty piece of meat or just a piece of asparagus where for whatever reason it really doesn't want to break down properly, then you're chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing, and it's staying the same size. So it is in that instance where I will spit it out. And I have enough experience with this now where I couldn't tell you how I know, but like I just chew it for a certain amount of time and I just know like, okay, like I'm cutting myself off, like this is ridiculous, I'm not gonna keep chewing this. Like it just gets to a point where I can kind of tell that it's not gonna break down anymore. So it's either I swallow it or I spit it out. and especially if it's like a big piece, and of course if it's like fatty, I don't need to swallow that, so then I'm just gonna spit it out. So obviously if you're in public, you can just like cover your mouth, or you know, maybe if you're at home, you can go over to the trash can and spit the food out in there. But don't force yourself to be chewing super chewy foods that are just refusing to break down. It's just not worth the pain, truly. It's not worth not being able to open your mouth the next day, so just spit it out. This next thing isn't something that I ever would have thought would be connected to TMJ, but everything in your body's connected, right? So this next one is sleep. It's not the amount of time that you sleep, it's actually the position in which you sleep. So after being diagnosed with TMJ by the dentist, it was recommended to me to go see a chiropractor. And so when I went to see the chiropractor and I told him what I was coming in for, one of the things that he told me, it was actually within a conversation, he like made this very like casual comment about how some people sleep like this, and then I'm gonna have to stand up to show you. I don't even know if I can do it. But he was like, some people sleep like this, and they don't know that actually can cause jaw pain. And I was like, oh, uh-oh. That's exactly how I sleep. So if I understand correctly, I think it's because my body is asymmetrical when doing that pose when I'm sleeping for 8 to 10 hours. And so that can kind of get everything else to be a little bit asymmetrical and can cause pain. I could be wrong about the thinking there, but that's the way that I understand it. I don't know if chiropractors do this with everyone, but one of the things that my chiropractor did with me was every time that I went in, he would have me like lay on this table and see where my left foot and my right foot ended. And obviously the goal is to have them like pretty much the same like distance out, but they wouldn't be that way. They would be a little bit off. And so that would show that my body was a little bit like asymmetrical. And I noticed that when I would try to sleep symmetrically, you know, where like both legs are down, just straight, you know, or at least if they're like kind of bent, they're like bent about the same way. Then when I would go into the chiropractor appointments, that distance between my 2 feet and like where they ended would close, they would get smaller. So it might not have been something that you thought about, but you might want to think about what position or positions that you're in when you sleep. Maybe even if you sit in one position for a really long time, what that position might look like, and if that is kind of a symmetrical pose for your body or not, and then try to fix that. And over time, you might see a difference in your jaw pain like I did with mine. This next tip is another thing that the chiropractor taught me, which was a jaw exercise. This is something that I did do every single day when I was having like a lot of pain, like daily pain in my jaw. Now I really only do it when I have like a bad day where I'm feeling the jaw pain, I'm feeling really tense. I'm gonna be honest, today I kind of feel like I have some tenseness in my jaw, so it's gonna be good for me to do this today. But my point is that if you are experiencing daily jaw pain, then you might want to do this daily. If you're not experiencing it daily, then you probably can just do it on the days when you feel pain. Or you could do it daily, but I just don't. So I want to get up close and show you what it looks like for my jaw to open when my TMJ is acting up like it is today. Okay, so that was me trying to just open my mouth straight. And as you saw, my jaw kind of kept moving around. That's what it does when my TMJ is bad. And so some days it opens like that, other days it just opens straight. So this exercise helps to correct that. So what you're gonna do is put both hands on either side of your jaw or your mouth, whatever way you wanna look at it. And then basically as you open your mouth, you're going to look at the bottom part, like your chin coming down. And if you start to see it move one way, you're going to apply resistance. So let's say that my jaw starts to move this way towards this hand. It's my right hand, it's gonna look like the left hand to you. What I'm gonna do is use this hand and apply pressure to move my jaw enough back into place where it's just straight under, you know, my upper lip. Okay, so I'm gonna try doing that and just show you. And I would just keep doing that, maybe do it like 10 times and then move on with my day. So you can see there that my chin kept moving to my right side. It looks like the left side to you. So then I would just use my right hand to push it back into place and continue trying to open my mouth. So I'm basically applying physical resistance to try to get my mouth to open normally, like straight, the way that it should be opening. And that's it, that's the jaw exercise. This next tip is a tongue exercise, once again, that my chiropractor gave me to do. And just like with the jaw exercise, I did this every single day when I was having daily pain from my TMJ. Now I really only do it on the days when I feel pain or tenseness in my jaw. This exercise is really hard to show. Like, I could kind of try to show it, but you can't really see it. It looks really odd. Basically, you stick your tongue out a little bit and then you put it on the outside of your teeth. So I usually start on the top, on the side, and then you just trace a circle by starting and going up top. Then you move to the bottom and go across your bottom teeth. That's one circle. And you do that 10 more times. You could start clockwise, and then you do 10 times counterclockwise. And once again, you can just do that once a day. I think when my TMJ was really bad, maybe I did like twice a day, but that was pretty much it. I will do it to show you, but I don't know if you really can tell what I'm doing, so hopefully my explanation did a good job. But with that said, I'm gonna do the tongue exercise now. I'll try to open my mouth kind of a weird way so that you can hopefully see my tongue, because usually I keep my lips closed. So like, I'll try it again. Let me like swallow my saliva first. So hopefully you could kind of see what I was doing. I know that's really weird, but I swear it actually does help. And when I'm done doing the 20 different circles, my tongue actually feels tired. Like, I just gave it a little workout there. And really quickly, I just want to add this one thing. I don't know if I would call it an exercise, but then I don't know what I would call it instead. But I heard this from a vocal coach. I think it was to like help release tension when you're singing. And it was to do, I forget what it was called, but basically you stick your tongue all the way out of your mouth, like as far as you can, and it forces your jaw to relax, and I swear it does help. So sometimes when I feel really tense in my jaw, especially if I'm like just by myself in my car driving, then I will do this and it helps. So just to show you, I'll do this one as well. That's it. This last thing that I did was probably the most important, at least for me on my journey with TMJ, and that was to take medication. Now this medication is not specifically for TMJ, it's actually for mental health. I actually started taking this medication because I was feeling depressed, but I think the medication not only helped with my feelings of depression, but also my anxiety. I don't think I've ever said it on this channel, but I have social anxiety disorder, and I do think that the medication that I took to help me with my feelings of depression did help alleviate my symptoms from my social anxiety disorder. Ultimately, I do think my TMJ came from my social anxiety disorder. So when my symptoms of anxiety were relieved, at least greatly, it's not fully gone, but mostly, then my jaw just was tense and in pain way less. Earlier in the video, I mentioned that chronic fatigue syndrome is one of the comorbidities that is seen with TMJ, but the TMJ Association website actually lists 30. One of those being somatic and psychological symptoms, which includes anxiety. Now, I'm not necessarily recommending that you start taking medication and that that's going to cure your TMJ. Once again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a chiropractor, a dentist. Like, please talk to your health team and see what's best for you. What I am recommending here is that you try to find the cause of the problem and treat that, because obviously if you can find the cause of your TMJ, you can eliminate that, then the TMJ will go away, or at least your symptoms of that will be greatly decreased. For me, I do believe that the cause of my TMJ is my anxiety disorder. It is interesting though that chronic fatigue syndrome is listed as a comorbidity with TMJ, so I guess something to explore there, because I don't feel like my TMJ is totally gone. But most days I totally forget that I have it at all. All of the things that I listed in this video are the things that I've done over the past 3 years to alleviate my jaw pain from TMJ. And they're things that I probably will continue to do for as long as I need to. Obviously, I can't guarantee that if you do any of these things that your pain is going to go away, but you can try any one of the things that I've listed in today's video on your own, minus the medication. Please talk to a health professional before starting anything like that, and just see how it affects your TMJ symptoms. I hope you found today's video helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Also, if you have any tips, any things that you've done that helped alleviate your TMJ pain that I did not list in today's video, please share it below and help us all out. I did make a video about how I adapt my diet to my health conditions, TMJ included, so I will link that in the description if you're interested in checking that out. All my social links will also be in the description. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to this channel for similar content in the future. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next one. I've always, yes. Since being diagnosed, made a conscious decision.